A few months ago, I made a video on the top 5 worst things about the MR2. And that video got a lot of, let's say, passionate response. And it was interesting to see people's views. You know, not everybody agreed with me. Some people did. But that's okay. You know, everyone is entitled to their opinions, as am I. At any rate, now I'd like to do a video on the top 5 best things about the MR2. Believe it or not, this list was actually even harder to come up with. And that's because there's so many things that I like about the MR2 that narrowing it down to 5 specific things that are the best was really hard. So in no particular order, here are the top 5 best things about the MR2. Number 1, its design style. Personally, I'm a big fan of 90s cars. Growing up at the time that I did, 90s cars were kind of the cool cars. The tuner culture had really exploded. Initial D was really popular, and you know, the kind of aspirational cars were cars like the Supra and the Skyline, even though unfortunately we couldn't have those here in the US. And just in general, all the cars from that time period were really cool, but specifically to the MR2. You know, someone once said to me, it looks fast just standing still. Like, I feel like it has this sort of timeless design that's really clean. It doesn't have a lot of extra curves or scoops or anything, but the lines that it does have give it this image of speed, with the air intake drawing long from the front of the door all the way back to the rear wheel arch. It has a subtle spoiler. Overall, I find it to just be a really cool looking car. Number 2, it's lightweight. Now, the MR2 is not the lightest car out there. Most generations of the Miata are lighter. The newer MRS or MR2 Spider are lighter. But compared to most cars, even most sports cars today, the MR2 is a very light car. Depending on what exactly your options were, it's going to be around 26 to 2,700 pounds. And weight is probably the biggest performance-defining metric there is. One could certainly make a good argument for aero and tires. The lighter a car is, the less power it needs to accelerate, which means if you do have a lot of power, it'll go even faster. It also means that it's easier to stop, and stopping quicker, especially around a track, will make a huge difference. It means that you can go that much faster, that much longer before you need to stop, so it can change direction more quickly and easily, giving it higher cornering speeds, and it'll even give you better fuel economy. Number 3, tuning potential. There are a lot of really cool things that can be done with the MR2. For one, swaps. It's easy to swap in, and I say easy relatively, but there are a lot of easy swaps that can be done with this car. You can have a Gen 2, 3, or 4 3S GTE. It has the 5S FE. It has the 3S GE. It has the 3S GE Beams red top. You can even swap in the 3S GE Beams black top. People have done the 1MZ V6, the 2GR V6, a K20 Honda motor. Really cool, like kind of endless possibilities for swaps on the MR2. Sticking to the most popular and really true MR2 platform, the 3S GTE, is an extremely capable motor. It can be tuned easily for big power. People have gone up to like 800 or 900 horsepower. It's quite easy to get up to around the 300s. It's not too uncommon to see people in the 400 or 500 range. So the car can be quite quick. Aftermarket support for it isn't quite as wide as some other cars, but there are still a lot of things you can do. You know, you can do all of your standard stuff like sway bars, coilovers, or springs and struts. TRD made a lot of cool parts for it. The TRD wide body kit is really cool and quite rare for that matter. So there are just a lot of really cool options for the MR2. Number 4, it's mid-engine. I would be willing to say that the fact that the MR2 is mid-engine is one of the main reasons why most people buy it. I know it's one of the things that really attracted me to it because it's just not that common to see a car that is mid-engine. A mid-engine layout is widely recognized as the best layout, and if you look at all of the really supercars or hypercars, mid-engine is the way that they go with. Now there is such a thing as mid-front engine, but generally mid-engine is what will give a car its best possible weight balance. So if you're shooting for perfect 50-50, mid-engine is the way to go. The MR2 itself, I can't remember the exact numbers, but I want to say it's somewhere around 56-44. Don't hold me to that. If you know the real distribution, help me out and put it in the comments below. Plus, a mid-engine layout just makes it look cool. When you go to that mid-engine layout, you get these awesome side scoops that come in all the way down the side of the car and just contributes to that first reason I was talking about, its styling. Number 5, it's unique. I don't know about you, but I don't really like seeing myself coming and going constantly. And in most of the world, particularly the US, the MR2 is quite a rare sight to see. Production numbers were pretty low, and it's getting older, so a lot of them have unfortunately been crashed or gone to the junkyard. But you could say that about a lot of older cars, that there just aren't that many of them left. But the MR2 is a unique car regardless of even how many of them are out there. Think about how many mid-engine cars exist. Think about how many mid-engine cars around its price point exist. Not that many. Then think about just how many mid-engine Japanese sports cars there are. Pretty much just this and the NSX. I don't know about you, but being in the company of the NSX seems pretty good. This last reason is kind of a combination of a lot of things I already talked about, honestly. For instance, part of that 90s styling. Look at these pop-up headlights. How cool is that? You just don't see that very often. This curved wraparound window in the rear. That's a very unique piece of glass. I appreciate something that has unique qualities of its own and something that stands out a little bit without being too shouty. And I think the MR2 fits that perfectly. So those are the top 5 things that I think are the best about the MR2. Let me know what you think. Put down your list of the top 5 best things in the comments below. And after you do that, at the end of this video, check out my list of the top 5 worst things of the MR2. But for now, I'm gonna head on over to this meet. If you don't look back at it, you got the wrong car.